Hey everyone, my name's George or Apache, and today we're visiting a 3D printed tiny house located in Denmark, the second happiest country in the world, home of pastries, and the birthplace of Lego. I think there's a link between those three. In this video, we'll be touring a 3D printed tiny house, speaking with the CEO of 3DCP Group, who are the company that built it, and we'll also be covering some of the pros and cons of creating houses using 3D printing. Before we get to those details though, let's take a tour of this 3D printed tiny home. When you first come in through the front door, you're met with a sleek, minimal kitchen area finished in a matte grey, which blends in really nicely with the 3D printed concrete walls. You might notice that the inside of this home is fairly unfurnished, and the reason for that is that this tiny home is a prototype home which was created to show investors and local regulators that 3D printing is a viable method when it comes to constructing houses. Thankfully, Mikkel, the CEO of 3DCP, kindly gave me some pictures of the home when it was fully furnished, so I'll weave them into the video throughout as we move from area to area to show you what it looks like when it's fully kitted out. On that note, here are some photos of the kitchen in its fully furnished state. As with all tiny homes, space is a luxury, and 3DCP have definitely thought outside of the box and come up with a cool solution for the bedroom area, as long as you don't mind heights. I should mention that the layout for this tiny home was designed with student accommodation in mind, rather than your 85-year-old grandmother. This bedroom perch, which sits on a concrete panel above the bathroom, gives you an eagle-eye view of the surrounding area through the upper windows and open plan kitchen / living areas below. Once again, here are some snaps of this area when it was fully furnished with a desk and some plants. Just outside the bathroom door, you have this little storage nook. I personally wondered if it might be possible to put some stairs here rather than storage, as stairs would give you a safer path up to the bed area, although perhaps there isn't enough depth to actually fit stairs in here. I'm not an architect, so maybe I've got a bit of a cheek to suggest anything here. Similar to the kitchen, the bathroom fixings blend in with the concrete walls, continuing the stylish industrial vibe that they've created throughout. A gigantic backlit mirror gives off a beautiful warm glow, which up close really highlights the rugged details of these 3D printed walls. Coming back into the open space outside the bathroom, you have a living room to your left with enough space for a sofa, coffee table and TV. As I mentioned before, this prototype was developed to show investors and local regulators that 3D printing is a feasible option when it comes to building houses. Before this project started, 3DCP came to an agreement with local decision makers that if this prototype worked out well, they could build a further 36 homes on the same site to be used for student accommodation. Unsurprisingly, the prototype was viewed as a success, and 3DCP were given the go-ahead to snowball this experiment into a much larger student housing project, which is set to be the largest 3D printed complex in Europe. Now, obviously, a relatively new technology like concrete 3D printing is going to have various positives and negatives, and rather than just repeating the things that I've read online, I wanted to hand the reins over to an expert, aka Mikkel, the CEO of 3DCP Group, so that he can give you his honest experience of working with 3D printers for this kind of project.
My name is Mikkel. I'm the founder and CEO of 3DCP Group. We are a small Danish startup, and we are on a mission to create better, cheaper, faster and more sustainable houses. 3D printing comes with a lot of very nice advantages. One of them is you have a complete freedom of form. The printer doesn't care if you're doing a straight line, a wavy line or a curvy line. The price is the same for all of them. Another thing that's really great is that you make a robot do all of the heavy and repetitive lifting. So we spare our workforce and we don't have carpenters and masons who have arthritis in their hands by the time they're 40. Instead, we have a robot doing it. We also eliminate a lot of the potential mistakes we have in the building process because the robot is following a coordinate system within a computer program. So it doesn't make errors. It follows exactly what it's supposed to do. 3D printing isn't all flowers and sunshine. There's quite a few challenges also involved with the process. We're struggling right now a lot with the regulatory issues, as the construction codes does not really include or comply with the 3D printing technology. This is a quite long process to get included in the standards, but the work is ongoing. So my favorite part about this tiny house, except for the fact that it's 3D printed, is that you can physically see the learning curve we went through. We were all a bunch of really inexperienced guys when we started this, so when you look at the bottom layers, you can see inconsistencies in the concrete, but as we move up along the structure, you see the consistency and the quality of the print becoming better and better. It's the first house in the world that's printed with a real concrete and not a ready-mix mortar. This means that we were able to cut the amount of cement used in half. This has a positive effect on both the price and the carbon footprint of the house. With regards to cost, we know that as we go along and as we gain experience, the price is going to go down. We have an ultimate ambition of cutting the price of construction in half within the next 10 years and thus making home ownership a possibility for everyone. We have a bunch of exciting projects in our pipeline. This house that we're in right now served as a prototype project for a larger scale student housing village that we're doing in the end of 2023. Before that, we're doing a project with Henning Larsen Architects, and we're also doing a bunch of terrace houses.
While 3D printing is clearly a practical solution when it comes to the construction of tiny and regular houses, it can also be used for much larger projects. In this clip, which was supplied to me by COBOD International, we can see their 3D printer at work creating the base of a wind turbine. This was part of an experiment that they ran in 2019, and plans are now in motion so that their printers can do this as standard with a view to lowering the cost of manufacturing wind turbines. It's important for me to mention that the printer used by 3DCP Group to create their tiny house is manufactured by the completely separate company COBOD International. 3DCP is an engineering firm, architecture firm and construction firm all rolled into one, whereas COBOD International deals strictly in the manufacturing of 3D printing solutions. In a nutshell, COBOD International creates state-of-the-art 3D printing technology, and 3DCP Group applies it to the wider market. If you want to learn more about the work that they're doing and the services they offer, I'll leave their links in the description below. Thank you to Mikkel for being involved, COBOD for supplying additional footage of their printers working, and Malthe for filming. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate you leaving a like and subscribing for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.